Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, no co-host, because reasons, I guess. Introducing from somewhere in New Jersey, Sophie Lechner.
Hi, it's actually Lechner.
Oh, alright then. Lechner.
No worries.
Makes sense. So, Sophie, what is it that you do for a living?
Coach mission-driven entrepreneurs on how to use LinkedIn to actually build relationships that will help them in their business. I find that a lot of people use LinkedIn in ways that are not always fun for the user or for the person at the other end of the interaction. And I aim to really change that and change the culture around using LinkedIn to really build relationships. And I think connections between people is the key to everything in life and particularly business. And so that's how I help my clients to use LinkedIn.
Fabulous. And how long have you been doing that for?
So helping people with LinkedIn is something I've been doing sort of informally for many years. Ever since LinkedIn came out, I started using it right away. So that's about 20 years now. Anytime anybody around me had a question, I was happy to help them. And then it was during the pandemic that I realized that there was actually a lot of misconceptions and myths around LinkedIn. And I was doing another business and that was sort of on standby, like a lot of us were on standby in the pandemic. And so I helped a lot of entrepreneurs around me, and that's when I discovered all these misconceptions. And so I realized that they really needed my help, and I started this as a separate business, new business. So it's been about 4 years, a little longer, 3 years, 3.5 years, yeah.
All right, very nice. Are there any jobs or opportunities that you have done besides this?
Right now, that's all I'm doing full time. Before this, I was helping businesses from abroad to enter the US market. So it was a completely different business. And that was after about 20 years in the corporate world. I was in global marketing in the pharmaceutical industry for many, many years, about 2 decades. And
Yeah, of course. If you were hosting a dinner party and you can invite 5 guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
Oh my goodness! Either dead or alive. I'm glad you gave me that freedom, because that makes my life easier. So the first one, you can't see me because we're not on video, but behind me are 2 pictures of Audrey Hepburn. I'm a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn, and everybody around me knows that. And so she would be the first person that I would want to have. Goodness gracious, that's the one that really comes to mind. Who else? Well, I would love to have Seth Godin at my table. That's less unrealistic than Audrey Hepburn. I think Seth Godin has a lot of wisdom, and I love the way he thinks, so I think that would be fabulous. 5 people. Why is that challenging to me? I would love to have Barack Obama. Since we can, have anybody we want at this table, I think that would make for a really interesting conversation. I'm not sure that I can think of 2 other people at the minute. If it comes to me later, I'll let you know. More guests. For now, and I like small group conversations rather than larger ones anyway.
Fair enough. Sounds good. Brilliant lineup. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Well, a few years ago, I happened to travel to Panama for business, and actually really fell in love with the place. It has a lot of the things that I like, so the weather being one of them. I loved the people there. I loved the ambiance, the fact it's actually very, very metropolitan. I have a passion for meeting people from all over the world, And in Panama, there actually happens to be a lot of people from all over the world. So it's like a little international community, but on a fairly small scale. It's a beautiful country, and it has so many different cuisines from all over the world. Because of that population, as well as great healthcare and everything you could want. And it does not have a lot of the hurricanes and other devastating events that happen in other parts of the Caribbean and around there. So that's a place I would love to live. There's another one that has always been very dreamy to me. I wouldn't love to live there because it's actually in a conflict situation right now. But if it wasn't for that, I would absolutely adore at least visiting, if not living, in Kashmir. So in the north of India, between India and Pakistan, which is actually the problem. But it is a magnificent region with those lakes and those luxurious hotels floating on the lakes and mountains all around.
Nice.
Yeah.
What should they teach in high school, but they don't?
I love your questions. There's a lot of things that are not being taught in high school that should. I think the biggest one, well, the all of what has been coined as the soft skills, but I think connections with between people, communication, listening, understanding others, resolving conflict. Those are all things that really are lacking, I believe, in our education system. And also, sort of learning to understand our emotions and manage them, especially in high school. I would think that's probably the time when you need it the most, and that would be a good time of life to be learning that. Probably in middle school as well, but at the very least in high school.
Fair enough. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
So I've actually done that a few times. I could talk about LinkedIn for a very long time. I can talk about how to create your profile, how to create a profile that really shows your passion for your topic and the mission that you are on, which is what I think is really important to do with your profile on LinkedIn. And, not just for your profile on LinkedIn, but in life in general and in your marketing in particular. So I'm actually writing a book right now. Well, I've just finished writing a book. I'm in the process of having it published, which is all about how putting your mission forward instead of yourself and instead of doing self-promotion is so much more powerful for your marketing. Helps you to bring the joy of your client work over into your marketing, because a lot of entrepreneurs don't enjoy marketing. And so really focusing on your mission is a way to not be putting yourself forward, but be putting your mission forward. And so really being able to help your audience with all the expertise that you have. But you didn't ask me to do a 40-minute presentation. You asked me what topics I would do a 40-minute presentation on. So those are some of the topics that I could do that on.
Nice, very good. Do you pour the milk in before the cereal, or the cereal before the milk?
Always the cereal before the milk. But I remember as a kid, my parents always used to, sort of not tell me off, but sort of remark on the fact that, I would always pour the milk until I could see it. So of course that means that there's a huge amount of milk, much too much for the cereal. But yeah, I think the cereal first. For sure.
Yes, absolutely. Would you rather never use social media again, or never watch another movie or TV show again?
That's a torturous question. I'm sure a lot of people would have no problem with it, but I have a problem with it because I love. Well, actually, it's interesting because a lot of people would lump LinkedIn into social media. So, and I don't really think of it as social media. I think of it as something completely different. Yes, it is social, and yes, it's a media, but it's not your regular social media. So if we exclude LinkedIn, then I have no problem. I can, I would choose to be off. In fact, I am off of social media pretty much. I closed my IG account, I closed my Twitter account, and I do have Facebook, but I barely look at it very infrequently. So just LinkedIn. So if I'm allowed to make the exception and define LinkedIn as not social media, then I have no problem whatsoever.
Fair enough, fair enough.
What about you? Can I ask you a
Are
question?
you... Yes, go ahead.
What would you do?
In terms of what?
Oh, this same question, the choosing the between social
Oh,
media.
right.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So, to be honest, I use social media a lot as a way to consume information and get the word out. So, honestly, I just never watch another movie or TV show again because what I see on social media, different parts of it, are their own movies and TV shows. The way I think of this is the world is a stage. You're either the audience watching things as it goes on, or you're one of the actors involved in these news story headlines. And you're either the good guy and everyone supports you, or you're the bad guy, the bad person. Everyone boos you like, boo, get off the stage, you know? And if you manage to garner enough influence and be recognizable enough, you'll be given more opportunities to be part of another show or a different headline in the news. And once you do well in that, the cycle continues. And this keeps going until you reach the end and you kick the bucket, you know?
Yeah. I love how you put that. You're right. Yeah. And you're all another way of putting it is some people say you're a passenger, you're a driver, but yeah, absolutely. And I think we all need to, well, maybe not everybody needs to be a driver, but I think for a lot of us it feels like it's a responsibility that we have to drive the world forward, to make things better.
Yes, absolutely. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, much more of a night owl. The most torturous part of my life was when my kids were little and I had to get up at like 6, 5, 6 when they would wake up. No, I've always, for example, when I was a student, I would study into the night. My best times were 8 p.m. to about 3 a.m. Then I would catch some sleep and, but it's the daytime. Now it's a little bit different, but when I first started working, oh my God, the idea of having to get up at 7 and be in the office by 8:30 or something like that, and I was just not that productive during the day, and I always would start being more productive around 5 or 6 in the evening, which is problematic. So when the BlackBerry and all those tools started being invented, then I was able to sort of be a little bit more productive. But I mean, not that I wasn't productive all those years, but it was just hard.
Yeah, fair enough. If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would you have a good chance at winning a medal for?
Oh my goodness. I've been watching the Olympics, so it's top of mind. What would I be? Well, first of all, this is a tough question because I'm really not into sports at all. But if we could make up new disciplines, I could be making connections for people that are helpful to them in their life, whether it's connections to other people or to information or concepts or ideas.
Yeah. Sounds great. What's a common misconception people have about you?
Oh, interesting. That's hard to know because they're not telling me. I guess people might think sometimes in larger groups I don't speak much. I'm much like I mentioned this before. I'm more comfortable in a one-to-one conversation like this one or 2 to 5 people. So when I'm in larger groups, people might get the idea that because I'm quiet, I have nothing to say, and they are very wrong. But I think it's because I believe that if you're not going to make an impact in the conversation, you shouldn't say anything. And a lot of times people have ways of communicating when they're in a large group that show clearly that they are not really sort of in a listening mode. They're more in a preaching mode. And that doesn't spur me to participate. I like conversations that are thoughtful and where people are very much open and listening and exchange ideas as opposed to either small talk or preaching to one another. So in a setting like that, I might be quiet and people might think that I'm either boring or have nothing to say. And that would not be the case.
Yeah, it happens. Would you rather not be able to open closed doors or not be able to close open doors?
Oh my God, where do you get your questions? They're so interesting.
A lot of places.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so would I be able to feel like this is going to have a deeper meaning, but I'm really thinking literally of doors. I don't like open doors. So I would rather not be able to open doors. But I realize if we look, at the symbolic meaning of it all, probably would prefer to open doors.
Yes, of course. Okay, this next one is what's making me really laugh so loud.
Yeah? Okay.
Alright. Let me just give you time to, chill for a sec.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. No, I'm not ready. Hold on.
Now you're making
Oh my
me
gosh. Why am I so laughing? No! Hold on, I need to, I know how to do this. Okay, alright. I'm ready.
Okay.
No. Yes. Okay. Now I'm ready. What would you do if someone deployed 10,000 spiders but suddenly made the world a fly-free zone?
Oh my God, I can't even handle this question. I have a phobia of spiders.
Who doesn't have a phobia of spiders?
Oh, a lot of people I know. This is beyond. So I'm gonna try and get into it with you. And it's a fly-free zone. So
Yes.
does that mean there's nothing to eat?
No, but there's so many meanings to this question. It can mean two things. It's either there's no flies in the world, or one person puts it, you can't take a plane to go somewhere. It's one of the two. I don't know.
So you're not making up these questions, right?
No, I'm not making these questions up.
Where do they come from?
They come from somewhere.
Yeah. So there's no scenario in which I would want to be alive and have 1,000 spiders anywhere close to me. So I'm eliminating the scenario.
Fair enough. But of course, without spiders, there's gonna be loads of flies, and they're just, bzzz, you know.
Yeah. I'll handle it.
Fair enough.
I really want to know where you get your questions, though.
Well, for years, I've looked online, looking at fun questions to ask people, and on the other hand, I'm part of this Discord server in regards to a defunct app that doesn't exist anymore. However, most people vaguely remember, and on that server, there is a bot. Questions of the day.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And these questions of the days are, what game have you spent the most hours playing? What movie, picture, or video always makes you laugh no matter how often you watch it, and so on. There's so many questions that just comes out each day.
Yeah. That's very cool. So you ask everybody different questions all the time?
Yes. And at
Mm-hmm.
some point over time, I could create questions of my own, like,
Mm-hmm.
where has been the furthest you traveled to from where you're originally from? Or have you ever imagined a world that's just a big, massive garden? And this one is my personal favorite. Have you heard of a drink called banana friche?
No, I have not. That's a very short answer.
Well, that's what a lot of people tell me.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're right.
That might not be the best interview question if you want to make people talk.
Well, this is where the irony comes in. I asked people that question, and they asked me, "What is banana friche?" And
Mm-hmm.
I tell people it's a banana flavored smoothie slash drink that has all the tingly sensations in the world. And yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a fun drink.
yes, it sure does.
You know, what's the furthest I've been from where I'm from? I probably am the furthest from where I'm from because I'm from Karachi, Pakistan, originally. Well, I mean, I that's where I was born. And so if I look at a map, I'd have to look at round things, spherical maps, a globe. But
Yes,
on my map that's on my wall, I think that's probably the furthest.
yeah, good point.
Well, California might be.
Well, we'll never know.
What
What
about
kind of
you?
music?
What about
Well,
you? Where? Mhm.
the furthest I traveled from where I'm originally from, is somewhere in Brazil, because I have family there, and every summer I visit them. Although more recently, we stopped going there less frequently because first time round, uh, my family moved into a new home, which was a lot bigger than the last house I lived in for the first 11 years,
Mhm.
12 years. Second time we didn't go because my granddad passed away, and
Mm.
there was a lot of negotiations about who who holds what and a
Mm.
lot of other family disputes.
Mhm.
Then the third time we didn't go to I didn't go to Brazil is because of you know what, and we were locked in
Mhm.
our homes for 2 years
Mhm.
until everything just all cleared up all of a sudden.
Yeah. So where are you from originally?
So originally I'm from Manchester in England.
Right. Okay. So you have family in Brazil because how come?
Well, a couple decades ago, my mum and her sisters were part of his Travel the Nations program. I'm not sure the exact name, but something close
Mhm.
to that. Uh, one one week, my mum and her sisters were visiting around Manchester at this church that my family goes to, and uh, my mum met my dad at this church, and
Hmm.
I remember this story. It's a long story, but in short,
Mhm.
uh, they believe it was meant to be,
Mhm.
but they didn't want to rush it. They wanted to be absolutely sure that they want to be together. At
Mhm.
some point, they were sure they want to be together. They become boyfriend and girlfriend. My
Mhm.
dad proposed to my mom. They had a wedding, 1999, and then
Mhm.
2 years later, here I am, and the
Yeah.
rest is history.
And your dad is Brazilian?
No, my mom's Brazilian. My dad's British.
Oh, the other way around. I see. So your mom was visiting already. I see that.
Yes.
Yeah, you said she was okay. I was thinking that she was in from Manchester and traveling around and yeah, got it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
My mom was French, and my dad was Pakistani. So I also had a very come from a very mixed marriage. I think that's what makes the best humans. Of course, I'm biased, but
Fair enough. Fair enough. It does bring interesting variations that, in a
yes,
unique way, that brings some kind of
Mhm.
beauty.
Yes, yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the area that you live in?
Oh, well, I'm in New Jersey, and there's a lot of greenery, and I have a little brook in the back of my garden, and I absolutely love that. Of course, these days there are big downpours, and so the brook becomes a raging river. So that's not always fun. But I love hearing the sound of a babbling brook, and so that's how I fell in love with this house. And yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, fair enough. What if you had a song for every time you enter the room? What song would that be?
Yeah, crack me up with those questions. A song for every time. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm not sure I would want a song, because that having a song stuck in your head like that would be painful.
It just gets annoying.
Yeah, totally. In fact, that's a problem I have when I listen to music. Is I was gonna say the last song I hear, not necessarily the last, like one of the songs that I hear or one of the tunes that I hear then gets stuck in my head for days and days and weeks, and so sometimes I hesitate to even listen to any music because I'm scared it's gonna leave me stuck with something in my head. So I don't think I'd want a song that's so often repeated.
Fair enough, that's understandable. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
If my mind was an island, well, I have to differentiate that from the island I'm picturing in my head that I would like to lay on, to sit on, but that's different. So I would love to be on an island with some sand and some palm trees and cocktails being served to me, but I wouldn't want my mind to look like that. My mind would probably look like an industrial zone with stuff happening and being created all the time and thrown out and replaced with other prototypes. And yeah, I think that's what my mind would look like.
Sweet.
What would your mind look like if it was an island?
Well, I'm not just gonna say it would be like any other island in the Caribbean or the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would say there'll be some variations in the geography. There'll be some that are warm, some that is just scorching hot. I feel they'll be temperate. It's average, I guess. And then there'll be few. Goodness me, they're freezing. There's ice blocks everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It'll be massive. There's different sections to it, archipelagos. The different varieties. Yeah, because that's what I am. I'm all variety man.
Mm-hmm. I can tell by your questions.
Yes. What takes a lot of time to master, but it is definitely worth it.
A lot of time to master. I think writing in a way that is extremely clear and helps people to think and to clarify their own thoughts, I believe is very difficult to do, but very much worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Sophie, talking about business, LinkedIn, how to promote yourself, and everything else along those lines. It's been great.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. All your questions are very fun.
Yes. And until next time, stay opinionated.